Hello, everyone. This is Bethelite. My name is Marcus. Just so you guys know, 937-789-4029. I've got an experience to share with you guys, and the content is a bit mature, so be wary of that if you have kids around or what have you. This is a person who I've spoken to quite some for a while, and he's not in a position to share his experiences at Bethel yet because he's relying on family. He's trying to get stable, get on his own, but right now it's dangerous for him to really put himself out there. So I'm going to read this information, and again, this is somebody struggling with pornography and masturbation and things of that sort. So be wary if you have children while you're listening to this. So let's, without further ado, get into it. The email. I have my tablet here so that I can read this email here. If I pause, it's just because the screen gets dark after a while. I have to just tap it so that I can continue reading. Okay, here. I was born and raised one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I applied to serve at Bethel, even though no one in my family had ever been. As a matter of fact, no one in my congregation had ever been in 15 years. So when my application was accepted, it was a really big deal. We had a party at the park where a lot of people came and congratulated me, and everything was great. Now, you must think, how could a Bethelite or someone that wanted to focus all their time and attention on serving Jehovah, how could a person like that fall prey to pornography? Well, bear with me, and I will try to explain how this happened. First off, I never had an issue with pornography or masturbation prior to serving at Bethel. Prior to serving at Bethel, I was a regular pioneer. I was a ministerial servant in my congregation, and I focused a lot of time on that. Outside of that, I would work, and not too much else. I didn't date much. As a matter of fact, I never dated at all. I didn't have a girlfriend. There were only a few sisters in my congregation to even choose from. And at the assemblies, I was always busy with assignments. So I wasn't free to just walk around and talk to sisters at the assemblies. I was always working, busy with assignment and things of that sort. Now, fast forward to my father dropping me off at Bethel. Me and my father weren't very close. My father, most of my memories of him were of him giving talks at the congregation and also at the assemblies and out in the field ministry. There wasn't much time where him and I did a lot of talking or bonding one-on-one. And that's the case, same case with my mother. Me and her, she used to pioneer, but outside of that, she just supported my father, and we didn't do too much as far as family outings or bonding as a family. So when I went to Bethel, my congregation and family, believe it or not, quickly forgot about me. I wasn't getting any phone calls. from any family. Most of the family that I spoke to was because I called them, and I didn't know anyone at Bethel. And for a place with so many witnesses, you could be extremely lonely, in the sense that my roommate and I didn't really get along, didn't really see eye to eye. We didn't have any big arguments or fights or anything like that, but my roommate had been to Bethel for a number of years and had his little social circle, and I was not a part of that social circle. As a matter of fact, I didn't really have too much of anyone to talk to when I went to Bethel. My table head was very stiff. He was a very stiff person. He wasn't the type of person that you're just going to hang out with and talk to after morning worship. Most of the people at my morning worship table were all married. So again, these aren't people you're just going to hang out with and chat with. So my first year was spent getting accustomed to Bethel life and my congregation. And I tried to attach myself to the congregation. My congregation was quite some time away, or quite a distance away, sorry. And it was very hard to connect with people that I couldn't see. I couldn't see them other than weekends when I would go down to my congregation. But during the week, we couldn't so much really visit because of the distance. My congregation was about an hour away. And that's a very big difference from what I was accustomed to with my congregation at home, where I would visit people often. I would stop by people's houses often. And all that came to an abrupt stop when I came to Bethel. Too far away. I was dropped off at Bethel. I didn't have a car. So the only time I was with my congregation was when I had a ride with another Bethelite just to go to meetings, not to just go and visit or hang out or anything like that. I didn't have a ride for all of that. And my family figured that Jehovah would take care of everything. I didn't really need a car. I had a car while I was pioneering in my home congregation, but because I was having issues with that car, when I got accepted to Bethel, my family told me that I shouldn't worry about it. I should leave the car. It's not in good shape anyway, and Jehovah would provide. So that leaves me in a situation where I'm not able to drive to any social gatherings or anything of my congregation. And Bethel is full of people, but also full of cliques. Everyone's in a clique. You can't just show up to somebody's room. Everybody belongs to a clique, and that's pretty much the way that goes. So I spent a lot of time alone at Bethel. As a matter of fact, I spent about a year alone at Bethel. Never had a girlfriend or anything like that prior to going to Bethel. And when I got to Bethel, I was shocked to realize that me coming from a small town in, I won't mention the town here because I don't want to get into too much detail. But me coming from a small town, there weren't very many sisters. As a matter of fact, the congregations were really small. And to go from that to the extreme where there are women everywhere at Bethel, the most attractive women from all over the country, however, they're all married. But them being married does not keep them from wearing very sexual attire, very tight-fitting attire. There was one sister in particular that I remember that worked in the construction, and she would wear jeans oftentimes, but those jeans were very form-fitting, and this girl had a body like Nicki Minaj, and she would walk around wearing things that were so tight-fitting and form-fitting that it was very difficult for me to not to be attracted to her. And it was the same with a lot of the women there. There were people that were housekeepers that would take care of your room, and they would wear shirts that were very tight. These are women that are very exotic from all over the country, from all over the world, and they're showing a lot more than what you would think a modest Christian woman would show. And this is something that I wasn't prepared for. I was under the impression that Bethel was God's house, and that people would dress accordingly. However, when I got there, there were a lot of women from all over, and they were dressing very provocatively. So, to be perfectly honest, I would try to go to the library and read books, read publications, do a lot of study to try to get my mind off of things, get my mind off my loneliness. I would try to prepare for parts at the Kingdom Hall. And there was a time that I went to the library. I had a large print edition of the Bible. And while reading the Bible, which was part of my Bethel assignment, I had to read the entire Bible in a set period of time. I was sitting in the library reading the large print edition of the Bible, sitting on the couch, and I was reading about Abraham and how he slept with essentially one of his servants, one of his slaves, one of his handmaidens, because his wife was not having children. And just that, in addition to all the women that are surrounding me at Bethel, all the sexy women that are surrounding me at Bethel, and I'm trying to do my Bible reading, and the Bible reading is about Abraham having sex, I got excited. As a matter of fact, I wanted to stop reading my Bible and head back to my room, but I couldn't because I had an erection. And the only thing keeping everyone from seeing this erection was my large print Bible that was in my lap covering that erection. So I tried praying, and obviously my Bible reading about Abraham having sex was not going to help this erection. And I looked around in the library trying to see if there was a way that I could get up and leave and possibly head back to my room. But me standing up with an erection at Bethel, with all the people there and all the gossip and everything that goes on, was just not a question. So I sat there with an erection thinking, what am I going to do about this situation? It wasn't like I knew people to go play basketball with, or people to do baseball, play baseball with, to get my mind off things, to go and associate with other people. So I was left pretty much alone by myself for a year, a whole year, in a facility with extremely attractive women everywhere. But I didn't have anyone for myself. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about giving up on having kids all together, having family all together, in order to serve Jehovah. But my actual body wasn't cooperating. I would try to do everything that I was supposed to do. However, if I'm walking in the hallway at Bethel and I see an exotic woman, a Native American woman, with a body like an hourglass and tight-fitting clothing, the most beautiful woman I have ever seen, some of the most beautiful women I have ever seen, in my life, am I not going to have any kind of physical reaction to that? There were times where I would go to a different library. The reason for that is because at the main library where I was, there would be sisters that would come through that were on tour. They would tour the library, and a lot of these sisters were wearing tight skirts that would show the shape of their panty line. I could see their panty lines through their skirt. And this would be such a turn on. This would be such a huge turn on that it's not something I could just turn off. I'd be in the library and I would then have a boner or hard on because women are walking past wearing short skirts, tight-fitting skirts, women from all over the country, women that are all different nationalities, Japanese women, black women, white women, all exposed in the sense that they were not dressed modestly. And here I am in a library where I'm supposed to be, and there are women walking past that if so much as a glance would give the average man a erection or hard on. So I went to a different library. I went to a library that was a bit smaller, and I sat there and I had some prayer and I did my reading in preparation for my meetings. And there was a sister that came in, and it looked like she had on almost an outfit that you would see a tennis player wearing. A skirt which was very short. She could very well have been playing tennis before she came to Bethel. I don't know if this was someone's wife or somebody that was on tour, but she walked through the library that I walked to get away from all that in a short skirt, very attractive. Keep in mind, I'm as lonely as I have ever been in my life. Not hearing from family. My congregation has pretty much all forgotten me. I'm not getting any phone calls from anyone. And I don't know my current congregation that well. And it doesn't help not having a car to be able to go to any kind of gatherings or anything that is being held. by my congregation, and my roommate and I aren't getting along. So I'm literally isolated at Bethel. I'm at Bethel and I'm on an island, feeling isolated and completely unprepared for all the women that are here. As a matter of fact, there were tours that would come through. I was a tour guide, and there were single guys that would mention how many women that they saw and how good looking they all were at Bethel. So this was a huge struggle for me. I'm being honest with you guys because I don't want to hold anything back. And I want you guys to fully understand that I'm not perfect. I'm a human just like everyone else. And I have needs just like everyone else. And in going to Bethel, I never would have imagined that I would be not watching television. I didn't bring a television. Not on my computer. I had a computer, but I wasn't on it much except for studying for meetings. But still exposed to so many hot women everywhere. At my morning worship table, in my assignment, in the libraries, places that you would go to try to get away to do some study and research. And I didn't spend much time in my room because my roommate was always watching TV, had the TV turned up so loud. And a lot of the things that he would watch were sexually provocative. I tried to stay away from movies or television or anything that was sexually provocative. So I didn't spend a lot of time in my room because my roommate watched a lot of movies where you'd have people having sex. And even though there wasn't necessarily nudity, watching people have sex on television was still a turn on. It was still exciting me to the point where I didn't want to have anything to do with any of those things. I just got to Bethel, and my goal was to serve at Bethel until the new system. So I wanted to deaden my members, as the scripture said, with regards to fornication, uncleanness, anything of that sort. But the sisters that were at Bethel, that was out of my control. All the women at Bethel, coming to Bethel, that were dressed in a very sexual manner, that was completely out of my control. So I thought about dating. I thought about leaving Bethel. I thought about getting married. And as a matter of fact, I text some of my relatives and talked to them over the phone. And as embarrassing as it was, I would ask them if they knew of any single sisters. The congregation that I was attending was mostly all men. As a matter of fact, I would go in a car group with about 8 to 10 Bethelites. Most of the time we would drive 2 separate cars, but we would always carpool. And these 10 Bethelites were all men except for one brother who was married. So you're dealing with a situation where even in your congregation, if you want to date, all the brothers, most of the people are men. And you're not in a position to be able to go and travel and go to different congregations because I didn't have a car and you had assignments. You were busy. You had things that you had to do at your particular congregation. So I spoke to a sister at an assembly, a sister that gave a part, as a matter of fact, at the assembly, and got her phone number and began to speak to her. However, she began to have issues where she was not attending meetings regularly. And that sucked for me because that was the only phone number I had. The only phone number of a sister for me to date that I had gotten from the assembly. Keep in mind, I didn't go to the assembly getting 10 or 12 phone numbers. I just got one phone number because I didn't want to look like I was out just to date sisters. So I got one phone number, and the phone number of this sister, she was no longer attending meetings regularly, and I tried to continue to talk to her, but her mother stepped in, and her mother told me that she did not understand what her daughter was doing, but she wasn't doing what she was supposed to, and she moved out and was no longer attending meetings. So as a Bethelite, what am I supposed to do? The woman that I wanted to date is no longer regular at meetings. I don't have any sisters at my congregation. The sisters at Bethel that I knew were all married and all wearing very provocative clothing. And as a matter of fact, we would meet together. The new Bethelites would meet together to talk about Bethel, have a Bethel entrance school. At Bethel entrance school, we would talk about Bethel and our experiences. And I was so upset that I mentioned at Bethel entrance school how sisters would dress like sluts at Bethel, and how it would affect the younger brothers, the single brothers there at Bethel. This, of course, did not change anything at Bethel. And there was a time where, backtracking to where I went to a different library to get away from the very sexually dressed women that would walk past me at Bethel. Keep in mind, I wasn't involved in any masturbation or anything. So the sexual tension that would build up, there would be literally no way of getting rid of that. And I go to a different library, and there's a sister there that went to go and I guess talk to her husband, who was studying at a table next to me. She had her back turned to me, and as per usual, she's wearing her really tight skirt where I could see the outline of her panties and her buttocks outside of her skirt. So I got up and left the library and started to head back to my room. And I wanted to kind of pray as I head back to my room. So I took the long way to my room, not realizing that I had an erection, and my penis was in a very uncomfortable situation where my penis was turned to the side and was poking out of the side of my slacks, so that my book bag and my magazines and things, I would have to hold it up to try to cover it anytime somebody was walking in the halls. in order to, keep people from seeing my erection. It was the same at morning worship. There would be sisters that were extremely, extremely attractive, wearing extremely provocative clothing. And after morning worship, I would have to get up and head to my assignment. However, sometimes I would have an erection. And I would just sit there at morning worship and try to play it off. And these are some of the things that I struggled with and had no answer to. There was no answer. I couldn't not see all the women that were surrounding me. And hold on for a second. My tablet just went dark. Hit the power button here. Figure out where was I here. Okay, I couldn't do anything about seeing the women that were there at Bethel. And a lot of those women were married, but apparently unhappily married, based off of how flirtatious they were with some of the young, new Bethelites. So I would purposely pray to Jehovah, because I knew if one of these married sisters were to flirt with me, there would be no way for me to resist. And according to the Bible, you would not be tempted beyond what you could bear. But there were so many women. I was so sexually repressed, and there was no way for me to avoid doing something inappropriate if any of them were to give the opportunity for me to do so. And a lot of them were very flirtatious. Well, instead of going to the library, because of the women that were always there, I started to study in a open office. This was an office room that would be empty, and I set up my computer in that office. While I would get on my computer, do some research, and could finally study in peace. There were no women walking through in inappropriate clothing, and it was nice and quiet. No one was around. I could do my research and study, and everything was going well, until there was a time where I typed in something for an article I wanted to look up, and a pornographic